cars, start your engines!
Tuning up your work week. It's MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse and brought to you by Hercules Tires and Grunt Style Apparel. Warning, please keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times and do not feed the host. Here's Woody Cain and Joey Meier.
And then there were 8. 4 drivers eliminated in the cutoff race at Kansas Speedway. The playoffs continue with 4 less drivers now. Chase Elliott gets his second win of the playoffs, his third of the season, third in the last 11 races for Chase Elliott, who seems to be getting hot at just the right time. I'm Woody Cain, joined by Joey Meier as usual. Joey, we were just chatting off camera before we started. There's something about the finality of the playoffs.
Yeah, whenever you go into a race and you're one of those last 12 or you start the playoffs as one of the 16, it's a definitive moment. You know that one of those 16 drivers will be a champion. Mm-hmm. And then you whittle it down to 12, and you know one of those 12 is going to be a champion. Well, boom, 4 drivers got their knees cut off yesterday. Now there's only 8 drivers, but one of those drivers is going to be a champion. And the lack of mistakes is going to allow you to keep going. We had a couple of mistakes in race 1 and 2 that we lost quite a bit of points. Really showed up yesterday having to win or expecting the Clint Boyer team not to run well or have a problem, and that didn't happen. So 6th place was great. It was a good day for us. We led the Team Penske group. But again, we saw mistakes by Kevin Harvick, unheralded. Had the fastest car again. We saw him have a problem at Dover, and then also a pit road penalty yesterday late in the race. Both times, ironically enough, allowed Chase Elliott to capture the victory. So no mistakes. You can't have mistakes from here on out.
Speaking of Kevin Harvick, he did not get a top 10 finish. You see there, he's 12th. That means no free bloomin' onion today at Outback Steakhouse, but head on over anyway. Lots of great specials going on there, especially lunch specials. You want to make sure you check them out at Outback Steakhouse. Kevin Harvick has given you a ton of free bloomin' onions this year, just not today.
Not today.
After a 12th place finish for him. They've been very, very quick all season long. Let's talk a little bit about the way this race played out, because there were some guys, as you mentioned, Kevin Harvick, who were very good early through some of the stages, but one little slip-up is something that causes them to have some problems.
You know, and that's the thing, because yesterday was unusual. We didn't have any really yellow flags except for the scheduled stage cautions. And so you never had a chance to reset or catch up if you had an error or you're trying to adjust on the car. Man, we ran all these fuel runs long, and the 2-car really ran them really long, trying to really play the odds.
Trying to catch a caution.
Trying to play the odds, man. We're like, eventually somebody's going to hit the wall. Somebody's going to have a tire problem, hoping it's not yourself, of course. But it just didn't work out. We really didn't have any major cautions throughout the race, and so mistakes were amplified because it never allowed you to get on the free pass, never get the wave around, and do that kind of strategy that we see on pit road. Yesterday went green, and it went to the checkered, and really just had a couple of stage breaks in between.
And when it counted, Chase Elliott was up front, and neither Kyle Busch nor Kyle Larson, who was another must-win situation driver, could not catch him. Here's what Chase had to say after the victory.
Obviously got lucky with Kevin's misfortune there. I wish we could have raced him straight up to see, who was better. I felt like we were fairly close to him that second to last run. I'm not sure how hard he was trying or not, but, obviously being behind him, I was working pretty hard to try to keep up and just be close if an opportunity arose, and luckily it worked out. It is, but just because you ran good this week doesn't mean next week's going to go good. But yeah, momentum's nice. I'd rather have it than not have it, but still at a pretty big points deficit behind the 18, the 4, and some of those other guys. So, if we just keep running with them every week, I think we'll, like I said, I think we can give ourselves a chance. That's all you can ask for. So we're going to keep the hammer down and try to keep as much pressure on as we can and just see where it plays out.
A couple weeks ago when Chase Elliott won, he said, why not us? We can do this. We're right there in the thick of it, and he's one of the 8 guys who has a chance. By the way, I love that Mountain Dew paint scheme on the car, and you can get the race-winning die-cast from Chase Elliott's victory at Kansas Speedway, as well as all the race-winning and other die-casts. They're available at planbsales.com. Always love that Mountain Dew look. You and I were chatting on text over the weekend. Plan B Sales was on, I think it was Matt DiBenedetto's car this weekend.
Exactly right. Very good-looking car. Plan B Sales very well represented by Matt DiBenedetto. That car ended up finishing the race very successfully. And it's a great-looking car to add to your collection. If you've gotten, if you start in the beginning of the year and you bought every one of these different paint schemes, you got an amazing, very colorful collection from Plan B sales. But one thing Chase mentioned was the momentum.
Mm-hmm.
3 races ago, we had a ton of it.
Yeah, you did.
3-race win streak, 2 big crown jewel races, and we really felt like going in, but we made mistakes. And a mistake really cuts your legs off a little bit at a time and really kills that momentum. Chase has it. Now he needs to continue carrying it on. And next week will be an interesting race at Martinsville because we go from a very fast track, 1.5 miles at Kansas, to one of our shortest tracks, oldest tracks, 1947 for the Martinsville race. Very exciting, very chilly.
Let's hope it doesn't snow there this time because earlier in the year, that's what we had.
Yep.
All right, big show coming up for you on MRN Motorsports Monday. Daniel Hemric is going to be along. He's got some big news headed to the Cup Series next year and right in the thick of the Xfinity Series playoffs. John Hunter Nemechek won the race. Daniel Hemric is our guest this afternoon. We'll also talk on track, off track about some things going well and not so well in the sport. And we'll look ahead, as Joey mentioned, to Martinsville. Clint Boyer will give us a preview. It's all ahead on MRN Motorsports Monday.
Chris Crockett, straight from the NASCAR stands, here with another member of our Toyota racing family, Jason.
Hi there.
Oh, you seem impatient.
Oh, well, I've been holding it in for a while.
A while?
Since it started.
The race?
No, the season.
Wow, guess you don't want to miss any action.
Nope, I don't.
Oh, did you just see Denny Hamlin take the lead?
I haven't taken my eyes off him.
Jason, you don't look so good. Can I offer you some water?
Absolutely not.
NASCAR and Toyota Racing. With a family like this, who knows the places we'll go in the playoffs? Learn more at toyotaracing.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
Are you a serious diecast collector? Do you have a favorite driver? Are you looking for a gift for a race fan? No matter what the question, the answer is always PlanBSales.com. Plan B has all the latest in diecast from Lionel and apparel, artwork, and other items for your favorite driver in NASCAR or other forms of racing. Go to PlanBSales.com, key your driver's name in the handy search window, and look at all the options. Your one stop for diecast and other motorsports collectibles is PlanBSales.com.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So cold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse. Blooming great.
That Mountain Dew Green Chevrolet Camaro out on top. Chase Elliott off turn 2 by 7 car lengths the leader.
He will snuggle up against the safer barrier off the end of the back straightaway. They're side by side for second, but a statement win for Chase Elliott off turn 4.
It used to be a standard statement at every race. When will Chase Elliott win? He won at Watkins Glen. He won at Dover. Today, he wins at Kansas Speedway in the Hollywood Casino 400.
Dave Moody, Mike Bagley, and Joe Moore with the call on the Motor Racing Network as we relive what happened at Kansas Speedway. Chase Elliott's 3rd victory of the season, 2nd win in the playoffs. And, you know, a couple weeks ago when he won, he said, we can't lay back now. Yeah, we're already into the next round, but we want to try and get as many of those points as we can. The clip we had from him earlier, he said we're still behind those guys. And as we've seen, those playoff points can help you overcome a bad day and help you advance through the rounds.
You can never take the opportunity to lay down. One of the things he's fighting against already is that Stewart Haas has 4 of their cars. That means the power in numbers is stronger for Stewart Haas because all 4 of those teams are there would be a field day if all 4 got to Homestead. But right now, they're just trying to compete against the other teams to make sure those 4 teams are moving on. So there are strength in unity and strength in numbers. Chase Elliott doesn't have that. Not only are none of his other teammates in the playoff competition with him, but they're not really running well.
Yeah.
You know, William Byron yesterday had a very early engine failure. Alex Bowman ran okay, very competitive. And then Jimmy
But he
Johnson,
had a must-win as well.
Exactly right. And then Jimmy Johnson's kind of mediocre at best right now. Again, very, very confusing from my standpoint on what's going on over there.
We'll see next year when they switch crew chiefs if that makes any difference.
Exactly right. But right now, Chase Elliott's kind of on an island over there at Hendrick Motorsports. And they always have to try to move forward. They can't just say, all right, we're going to keep doing what we're doing because it's been successful. Because realistically, they're not at the best. Harvick, Kyle Busch, Truex, those guys can keep doing what they're doing and make small incremental changes. But Chase has to keep making those big jumps because that's what it's going to take for him to get to Homestead.
3 races left before we settle it at Homestead. And we've got Martinsville Speedway coming up. We'll talk with Clint Boyer a little bit later on in the program about what we can expect there. All right, let's talk on track, off track now. Some things going well in the world of NASCAR and some things not going quite so well. Joey, what's on track for you?
You know, years ago, we had no playoff system, and everybody clamors about days of yesteryear and how great it was, and
romanticize the
old
past.
point system. And man, it was the most convoluted point system you ever imagined. You had to have an abacus to try to figure out who was finishing where and how many points you got. So they came out with the playoff system. And now everybody is a point, and everybody, we know 16 cars for the first round and 12 cars and 8 cars and 4 cars.
I really like one spot per position.
Exactly
too.
right.
Yeah.
It's very simple. There's
Or 1 point.
There's nothing better than knowing yesterday at the end of that race, Kyle Larson wins, he's in. There's no mathematical formula. And the simple fact is, I think it made it better to really raise the elevation of fan interest and going, who has to win today? And if they win, what does it matter? We're not worried about this guy and all these other different convoluted schemes. There's nothing better, and right now, in my opinion, than the playoff point system. It's very simple, and it keeps the emotion high. If we go back 20 years ago with our convoluted system, you wouldn't have but 2 or 3 cars potentially mathematically still in the hunt, even though there was only one car that was really running away with it, and he had to fall off a manhole somewhere to have something go wrong with the other cars to catch up with him. Now we have this playoff system. Points are erased. We go to a new 3-round system with Martinsville, Texas, Phoenix, and we know one of those 12 drivers, one of those 8 drivers now will be one of those 4 drivers in Homestead. What a great system. I really believe it simplified things, and you can see here the Chase cutoff. Chase Elliott's 4th in points. Clint Boyer, Joey Logano, Kurt Busch, and Eric Almirola. Still, one of those 8 drivers, I will guarantee you, will be a champion at Homestead.
There you go.
See
and
there?
I remember years and years wishing that we would get to the final race and have 3, 4, 5 guys with a realistic shot of winning a championship, and it just rarely, if ever, seemed to happen. And now we get it every single year. There's some finality to it. It has some of the elements that we see in other sports, like the NCAA tournament or like the World Series that's going on now, for example. Those kinds of things bring drama and finality to sports, and I think that's what makes it compelling. All right, off track. What's not going quite so well?
So I'm going to point this out, though. Hey, Daryl, make a note of it today's date because Woody agreed with me again.
Yeah.
He agreed with me.
Yeah, I did.
All right, so now we just talked about how great the playoff system is. 20 years of convoluted point system. This new playoff system is fantastic. As a competitor, man, 20 years ago, you trickled along the season and you saw the championship slipping away until one day some reporter came to you and said, you're mathematically out of it.
Yeah.
Before that happened, you automatically knew your team wasn't going to make up 6 gazillion points on all these guys in front of you. So you automatically knew every week was a slow process of a slipping away. Yesterday's definitive of ending that race, finishing 6th with the 2 car and going, you're done.
But what's negative about that? I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
It's negative only from the competitor standpoint.
Yeah.
We all talk about the thrill of victory, and yesterday was the agony of defeat.
For 4 guys.
For 4 guys. That agony of defeat is very high because up till yesterday, you still had a chance. And your chance was as good as anybody's. It wasn't an advantage. If you won the race, you were moved on. That was simple. We all go into that race, but the definitive of the agony of defeat is great. I'm applauding the system.
Right.
But wow, it's really a kick to the kidneys.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think I like that better than having it kind of dribble away slowly through the year, where there's this, all right, you get this one last chance. If you're going to go on, you got to do something special here at this track, whichever one that may be. And I just find that very compelling. I think it's great.
Without 2 doubts, it's compelling. But the agony of defeat is very great.
But that's what makes it so cool. That's what makes it drama.
Yep.
I think that's what everybody wants. I thoroughly enjoy that kind of action. All right, big show coming up for you here on MRN Motorsports Monday. As we mentioned, Daniel Hemric will be along with us. He's still right in the thick of the playoffs in the Xfinity Series, and he's headed to the Cup Series next year. But there was a little bit of a discrepancy after the Xfinity race at Kansas. His car was found to be too low. We'll talk about all that when we come back.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I'm on that onion to bloom, and it get in my feathers like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there. Whether you're running on dirt or running a job, our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Grunt Style. The American fighting spirit is in everything we make. We are 500 patriots and veterans strong, bringing clothing manufacturing back to the United States of America. Always moving forward, never retreating, never giving up. We are Grunt Style, and this we'll defend. Get yours at gruntstyle.com. Keeps it away from the lap machine, keeping that car nice and safe. John Hunter Nemechek off turn 2 for the final time.
Kansas Speedway has been great to the Nemechek family. His father, Joe, his last Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series win was here, and his son, John Hunter Nemechek, off turn number 4 for the first Xfinity Series win.
Up against the wall, now diving down to the inside in career start number 15. John Hunter Nemechek has won the Kansas Lottery 300.
John Hunter Nemechek gets his first Xfinity Series win Saturday at Kansas Speedway. However, he's not running a full schedule. He's not in the playoff hunt right now. One driver that is finished second in that race, and he joins us on the guest line now, the driver of the South Point Hotel and Casino Camaro, is Daniel Hemric, and he's with us now. Daniel, well, you guys have just quietly, methodically gone about your business and find yourself right in the thick of this playoff race. Congratulations on a strong season and a good finish yesterday, but, man, we're getting right down to crunch time now, or everybody's starting to kind of tighten up a little bit all across the board?
Yeah, that's very true to say for sure. I appreciate you guys having me on first off, and no, it's definitely we've been going about like you said, kind of minding our business, making our race cars better each week, and executing a little better every week, and that's what's allowed us to find ourselves right in the mix, which is all you can ask for this time of the year, is to be bringing your best stuff and be on your game the best you can be, and I feel like we are where we wanted to be months ago, but if we could pick a time, this is it.
Daniel, one of the things you do on Mondays, most race teams do after a race, is you go back and you analyze the race, you look at your past, but you really always try to move forward in racing. But one of the things I've noticed this year in 2018 is, even though you haven't gotten to victory lane, you have to be happy with 4 poles this year so far. You've ran over 99% of the laps. Over 46% are top 5 finishes. You have 11 top 3s. I know you're searching for victories, and really it's just the small little tiny mistakes that happen throughout the day, whether it's on your part or pit call or whatever it is. Give me today's meeting is, and when you sit down on Monday, what are you saying for the next 2 races to get to Homestead as a championship contender?
Honestly, Joey, I think, in meetings past, you talked about the top 5 finishes. In meetings past, it's like, man, if I wouldn't have personally sped on pit road early in the race, we had a good rebound. Or we took too much wedge out, the last pit stop of the last race we ran second or third at. But this week, the meeting this week, Joey, is going to go something like this. We felt like when we pitted for the last time, there before that last, short run, we didn't make any adjustments to our race car because our balance was the best we'd been all day. We had driven out to a 3.5, 4-second lead and felt like we were in good shape. And for whatever reason, we took off on that last restart. I had no rear grip. The least amount of rear grip I'd had all weekend at any point. And that is the frustrating part if you want to look backwards. But looking forward, that was 100% the best job we've done as a race team, from unloading through the race. And that's what I talked about. That's what the positives are. That's what we've stumbled across top 5s, and we've ran strong and consistent all year, but never had a car that was capable of going out and, for lack of better terms, dominating a race. I mean, heck, most laps I've ever ran, led at a racetrack of any kind in a national series, and that race car and that race team deserves all that credit. And I thought we executed the best we could. We fell one spot short, and there's a little bit of a question mark as far as what happened there on that last set of tires. But in the grand scheme of things, we're the best that we've been I've driven for RCR, and I'm proud of that, and I'm happy of that. Our pit crew are rising to the occasion, and if we do what we did this past week from here to Homestead, we will give ourselves a shot to run for a championship.
Daniel, let's talk a little bit about the elephant in the room, post-race inspection. NASCAR said the left front, I believe, of your car was a little bit too low. We saw a similar situation where Kyle Larson came in on the Cup side this week and had a 10-point penalty. Is that something that you have to just put out of your mind and worry about what's ahead rather than what happened and what got you to that point?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely nothing that, you don't want to give 10 points away by any means, but fortunately we had a good day on that side of it. So it's not a wash, but it's also, we took some of that cushion away, but, we just have to continue to attack like we did this past weekend. And moving forward, I promise you, our guys aren't worried at all about what the penalty was. We're fairly confident that the penalty actually came from something that happened on our last run that created our issues. So it's kind of, news of the past, and we're going to continue to roll on and do what we did this weekend and hopefully continue to improve because, man, it was fun. It was so much fun to drive that race car this week. And I wish we didn't have the week off. I wish we could go straight to Texas. But we're going to enjoy the week off, hopefully tinker and take the bullet for that racetrack a little better and go there with everybody's mindset on the right page and ready to do what we did this past weekend, but hopefully one better if everything plays out.
2018's been a really good year performance-wise in the Xfinity car, but you've also had the opportunity to not only test at the Roval, but to get in a Monster Energy Cup car for Richard Childress at Richmond and the Charlotte Roval, sitting 11th in qualifying and got a little skirmish there at the end, but you really ran the top 10 all afternoon. But one of the things when we always talk about looking forward is 2019. You got a really big Cup deal coming up next year, don't you?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm excited about that, and it's good to know that I'm making that transition next year, and it allows me to 100% focus on the Xfinity program currently in the task at hand. And from a driver's seat, Joey, I know you heard it all the time. This is the best position you could ever ask to be in. So thankful for RCR and our partners that have agreed to allow me to make that step, and it's going to be a heck of a mountain to climb. But I know that the group that we're kind of forming around me is ready for the challenge, and looking forward to not only first off, I had a ton of fun getting to know that the Monster Energy Cup Series cars this year and what they are and performing at Richmond and the Roval. Curious to see what that package is going to be all about next year. It's going to be a interesting learning curve for everybody. So if there's ever a time to get in, I think this is a time that's going to put everybody on a little bit more even playing field, and we can hopefully go to work and kick off the season strong and have our goals and be able to meet those goals and reset those goals as the year goes. And it's going to be a challenge. I'm looking forward to it. Will
Smoky Mountain Herbal Snuff go along with you in the Cup car for 19?
I'm hoping so. This past year was their first outing in the Cup Series. Since they started their business and got involved in NASCAR. So it's kind of still in the works, but hopefully Dave Spoke and his team has made the decision to support me in the past, and I'd love to have them on board moving forward and just have to see how it all shakes out.
Congratulations on getting that ride going to the 31 next year. I know for a Kannapolis guy growing up the way you did and now racing for Richard Childress has to be just a dream come true. But let's get back to the right now a little bit, or at least 2 weeks away. You head to Texas Motor Speedway. What can we expect there when the Xfinity Series rolls in?
I think it's going to be a lot of what we saw, in the spring race, honestly. We had a crazy temperature swing the last race from 80 degrees to -10, it felt like. And, going back there, I expect the temperatures to be a little cooler than they were, obviously, from that practice day. And fast race cars really prevailed there. And I thought all of our Camaros, RCR, had really good speed when we were there the first race in the sun and whenever it cooled down. So I'm hoping that what you saw this past weekend will translate to that. That racetrack tends to get just a little bit wider when we go since the repave. You can find yourself running, half a lane higher every time we go back. And, it's made for the restart to be even more of a crucial spot in which lane you're in. So hopefully we've got enough maneuverability and stuff built in our cars to allow us to have a lot of throttle on time. That's what that place is all about right now. And I think our race cars are capable of performing like they need to when we get to Texas.
Daniel, on the Cup side, we hear so much about guys saying you got to make your hay on restarts. That's where you really got to do it, because once somebody gets out in front, it's really hard to catch them. Break that down for us in terms of how it relates to the Xfinity Series, because you don't have as much power as in the Cup Series. Is it really all about restarts, or can you guys run people down when they get out front?
It's kind of a double-edged sword, honestly, in the Xfinity Series. In the Cup Series in particular, I think the downforce and the rules package differences from the Xfinity car to the Cup car. The Cup cars drive a little worse in traffic now than what the Xfinity cars do. So I think it makes them even harder to make passes and run people down once they get single file. On the Xfinity side, heck, we didn't get through pre-qualifying tech, myself or my teammate Matt Tiff, there in the spring race, and we both drove up inside the top 7 or 8 there before the end of the first stage. And so a good race car in the Xfinity side can allow you to prevail, but there's no better place than those restarts to get spots. At a place where, the repave and the grip is up so high, when you have to crack the gas because, your lane shifted or something happens, heck, that can be 5 or 6 spots by the time you get back to turn 3 with as much throttle as we run. It's a little bit of both those things, but you still got to maximize your day on your restarts and make sure your car is capable of doing what it needs to do to maneuver and get through traffic like you have to be able to.
All right, Daniel. Well, man, we really appreciate your time. Congratulations on such a strong season and what you've got coming in 2019. I don't know. I haven't heard anybody who's not just absolutely thrilled for you. We really appreciate your time, and congrats on the way you guys have been running all year.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Hopefully we can keep it going, and I appreciate the congrats on the deal for next year. It's a lot of people and a lot of support on the way. It's helped me, so I appreciate it. Thanks to everyone, and y'all have a good day.
Keep it up,
there
man.
You go.
Good job.
There you go. Daniel Hemric. He's right now first in the Xfinity Series standings. We expect to hear something about penalties this week. Check MRN.com to keep up with what's going on there. We got one more break coming up here on MRN Motorsports Monday. I didn't want to give John Hunter Nemechek short shrift, so let's head to break and let you hear what he had to say after his big victory at Kansas.
I remember when he won, I was a kid playing on the playground for both days, and our motorhome driver and my mom came running out, Dad won, let's go to Victory Lane. And I saw a video of that this week, actually, and it was pretty cool to see how young I was and standing in Victory Lane taking home the same trophy that Dad took home. He's definitely taught me a lot and has helped me progress through my career, but what a day. This is definitely amazing. Huge thank you to Fire Alarm Services, Chip, and everyone that supports us, and Daniel right here. It was fun racing him really hard all day, racing each other clean, and that's kind of what I have grown up. I've grown up racing against Daniel, and good to come out first this time. But huge shout out just to everyone that helped support me and has got me to this point in my career.
Chris Crockett, straight from the NASCAR stands, here with another member of our Toyota racing family, Jason.
Hi there.
Oh, you seem impatient.
Oh, well, I've been holding it in for a while.
A while?
Since it started.
The race?
No, the season.
Wow. Guess you don't want to miss any action.
Nope, I don't.
Oh, did you just see Denny Hamlin take the lead?
I haven't taken my eyes off him.
Jason, you don't look so good. Can I offer you some water?
Absolutely not.
NASCAR and Toyota Racing. With a family like this, who knows the places we'll go in the playoffs? Learn more at toyotaracing.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
Grunt style. The American fighting spirit is in everything we make. We are 500 patriots and veterans strong, bringing clothing manufacturing back to the United States of America. Always moving forward, never retreating, never giving up. We are Grunt Style, and this we'll defend. Get yours at gruntstyle.com.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I'm on that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So cold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse, blooming great.
You're watching MRN Motorsports Monday with two guys who cure dandruff. Here's Woody and Joey.
How much does that pay? You cure something, you should get like a big
We
check,
should.
right?
We're big time. Man.
I mean, if you could
cure.
do that, you
get
cure
like
something, you get paid, right?
You get like a Nobel Prize for that.
Something, yeah, absolutely. All right. Speaking of prizes, the clock at Martinsville is the prize this week. What
Yeah,
can we expect
one
there?
of-
The trucks come back and
Yep.
the Cup Series goes there.
One of our oldest tracks we go to, one of our shortest tracks we go to. 1947 built, half mile, tight, flat. Man, guys are beating and banging. You're going to have 8 guys that are really nervous because they don't want to lose the championship come Sunday. They can't win it, but you can sure put yourself in a hole that you can't climb back out of.
How challenging is it to overcome mistakes or issues at a track like Martinsville, say, versus what we just saw at Kansas or even Talladega the week before?
You know, if you have a fast cars go fast. I know it sounds crazy.
Wow, I'm going to write that down.
Fast cars go fast. But when you have a single groove or a lane and a half track, it's very difficult to make that up. If you come down pit road at Kansas and you're the leader and you got to do a pit stop, you almost lose one lap, but you can come out in front of the guy behind you if you had a big enough lead. At Martinsville, you're not only losing one, but you're potentially losing 2 or 3 laps based on where you are in the field, and that's really tough to overcome.
Absolutely it is. Clint Boyer is one of the guys still running for a championship. Stewart Haas Racing has 4 cars in the final 8. Here's what he had to say about Martinsville coming up.
Yeah, and for me, spent a lot of time in an airplane, obviously this week, and a lot of time thinking and just playing out where we're at as a race team, where we're at as far as the playoffs and our opportunities ahead and things like that. I know that I got to take care of business this weekend at Kansas. We have to get in that round of 8 because I think if I can do that, I've got 2 really good tracks for me, typically, historically, that would be good and could put me in that round of 4 for a shot at a championship at Homestead. I love Phoenix out there. That's another good track for us. So to be honest with you, this is the one that my focus and my attention's on right now. This is a big deal. I know it is.
It seems like 100 years ago, but Boyer did win when we had the giant snowstorm and weather delay and all that at Martinsville earlier this year.
Yeah, no, again, he's always, just like you said, he's been good at Martinsville. He's been good at Phoenix. So him getting to round 3 is really his goal because he knew those 2 of 3 races are going to be really good for that Stewart Haas race team.
Let's talk quickly about the trucks. They'll be back there as well. They are whittling down their championship field as well. The guys that we've been talking about are still good. Johnny Sauter, Noah Gregson, several guys eliminated after their previous race at Talladega.
Again, we go to Martinsville. If you're going to look, Johnny Sauter, Brett Moffitt, Noah Grayson, and Grant Enfinger are your top 4 going. We're gonna man, it's gonna be so tight. We see tight racing at Martinsville to begin with in the spring, but some of these guys are simply trying not to make a mistake.
All right, we got a big week coming up for you here on MRN. Keep up with it all at MRN.com through the week. Saturday, Camping World Truck Series Texas Roadhouse 200 comes your way at 12:30 Eastern Time. Also qualifying for the Cup cars on Saturday. That's at 4 Eastern. Then on Sunday, the first Data 500, 1:30 Eastern Time on the Motor Racing Network. And don't forget NASCAR Live every Tuesday at 7. I'm Woody Cain. He's Joey Meier. We'll see you right back here next week for another edition of MRN Motorsports Monday.